Hello everybody. Today I want to do something a little different. This is one of the things I put on the shelf, but it's something I've been wanting to talk about because we get this tale in Western tradition from the Greek myths. And it's the story of Andromeda and Perseus and Medusa. This star right here is Algol. I call him Al Gore or algorithm. It's Medusa. This is the head of Medusa that Perseus gets. He has to kill the Kraken, which is the beast in the sea. The Kraken has been called forth. And the Kraken of the sea, the water, wants a sacrifice. And the sacrifice is Andromeda. And they chain her to the seawall. But Perseus gets the head of Medusa and turns the Kraken to stone. It turns to stone. That's the tale. And it falls into the sea. Remember that. That's a metaphor of actually things to come. All of these great stories, the Clash of the Titans, are telling us the tales of the heavens. In Arabic, it's different. It's the story of the Arabian Nights, 1001 Tales, but basically the same story. We think of it as mythology, when it's more true than what our religions are anyway. At least we think of them as metaphorical, but these, as above, so below. These representations of the heavens exist in all of us all the time. That's what this place is about. It's like the heavens project, and we're all here. We're up there, but we're down here, kind of thing. It's difficult to explain, but you can go through the different cultures around the world and get these stories. But this particular star, the Ghoul, and this is actually Oriental or more Persian, really. This is considered the most evil star. If you remember the story of Medusa, she had the snakes in her head, right? That one. But there's more to Andromeda when you start putting all of the stories together, how they connect. And it starts over here with Thalem. In the mouth of the fish is this, but it's actually educator. He comes in, let's do it in the Western tradition here. They've added a lot to this chart. I prefer using the older one because you see all of this new stuff here. Well, he comes in on a white horse with King of Kings and Lord of Lords written on his vesture. He's dipped in blood. It's red. And these are the lucky stars of the king. It is written on his vesture. And he comes in on a white horse. Well, this is Pegasus. This is the Pegasus story. He comes to save the woman. The woman, if you extend the horse, the woman is inside the horse. She's the chained woman. They've made a whore out of her. I've done this video before. She's the Trojan whore. The Trojan horse. And like the same thing with the story when Jesus was mingling with the publicans and the sinners. And the woman they were stoning. This is the woman they were stoning in that story. And he sets her free. Right? He tells her to go in peace. And that's how that story will end. This woman will become unchained. When Perseus takes the head of Medusa and kills the Kraken, then she is released. She's the daughter of the king. He's the king. He's the daughter of the bad king. Same thing in the Hercules story. Hercules is in love with the daughter of the king, but finds out he's the bad king. Leo being the king. We can go through all of the different traditions, even the Gnostic ones. All of the stories are here, and it helps you to see more clearly what it's all about when you layer them on top of each other. When you get the different creation stories from around the world, and you can relate that particular culture to a specific time that it was influenced. The body of Osiris was split up and spread out around the world. Everybody's got a piece of it. Everybody's supposed to be doing what they're supposed to be doing, but we seem to be in this cauldron between these two ages right now. It's really seems very chaotic, but in all actuality, it's more organized than we could wrap our minds around. The order is within chaos. Order comes out of chaos because order's within chaos. And that's a dual meaning phrase as well. Order out of chaos. Order means a guild, a lodge, a league, a brotherhood, a controlling factor, actually. That's what they do. They're set up to control things. The great builders, these guilds, have been with us through the ages. For the past 2,000 years, the information of all the guilds is ruled by Jupiter and the Jupiterians. They're in charge. Before that, it was the Asians, and then North Africa here. When you talk about Gemini, well, that's Buddha. We can go right back to the Orient there, a different part of the Orient. You have the Near East and the Far East, and the different countries around the world. The different architecture tells you. We have, and it seems like the Zodiac is cut in half and laid on top of each other, because we have stories here of the eagle with the serpent, and that all relates to North and South America, but at the same time, in the past, but in the future, it's Aquarius and Capricorn, because of what the builders over here left behind. Tells us what that land was established for. North America being Capricorn. It's an earth sign. We have the Indian mounds. They're called earth mounds. And they have the great circle as well. Aquarius, South America. Lima, Peru being alchemically the same thing as Fomalhaut and Vela. Same word. Pulling from the Egyptian, which is back over here. And they're all related. It's on the fixed cross. You have these 4 stars and they're all connected. Fomalhaut, Aldebaran, Antares, and Regulus down here in Leo. These are the navigators. Astrology and to map the heavens was about navigation. That's the whole point of it, was you can't get where you're going unless you at least know where you are. And after the flood, here in Cancer, the whole point of the age of Gemini was to remap the heavens. so that they could find everything that was lost before the flood. And a lot of it was lost underwater. But there's nothing. This age coming is about restoration. It's going to restore all things. It's going to set this circle right and its rulers. For 10 ages, the problem started way back over here in with Jupiter being the illuminated ones. The illuminated ones came here. They were before a lot of stuff, these illuminated ones. Let there be light. This is let there be light. And that is represented a manifestation into the physical world. Jupiter. And he's a failed star. His light went out. His moons were thriving planets. And alchemy, if any of you are going through these alchemical books on that link I gave, you need to learn the names of the planets or the moons of Jupiter, because you're going to hear them referenced quite a bit. You're going to see a huge influence of the Jupiterians there. And this battle between Saturn and Jupiter, it's coming up in 2020. Let's take a look at that. We're just going to let this, I went way too far. I'm going by, I want to go by months. And Saturn is going to go retrograde here again. Next month, Saturn's going to go retrograde. It will not go back in to Scorpio, but it will come close. So I look at that as buying time. They're going to do this dance straight up till 2020. This is January 1st, 2019. February, here comes Jupiter. Pluto's moving on over into Capricorn, waiting on him. Then in June of 2019, Saturn and Jupiter are both going to go retrograde again. They do this dance. Then, at the end of 2019, Jupiter is going to come on into Sagittarius with Capricorn. We'll watch it by the days from here, because they're going to do their dance straight up to 2020, the end of the year. It's quite a fascinating thing they do in the time they spend. Another Mercury retrograde in March. And right before they get there, they both stop at the same time and back up. Now that's very significant, to have a double retrograde and they back up into Sagittarius. Saturn and Jupiter both are spending, Saturn's going to go retrograde 3 times in Sagittarius. I call that buying time. You're getting extra time. Saturn rules time. You've been given more time. Not once, not twice, 3 times. You're given more time. For what? To get all of this shit straight. When we talk about, and here's the big kicker about 2020. Let's move on up and let them conjunct there on the winter solstice. Because there's a lot more to this. The Jupiterians are going to take a big hit. A lot of ideologies are just fixing to crumble to the ground. Here's our conjunction on the 21st. You have this Mercury, damn combust of the sun. But you have this Mercury sun, that's your pinky and your ring finger. And then you have your forefinger and your middle finger. This is where you get the live long and prosper, with the dividing there. And what's in the middle? They're all really in basically at one end of Sagittarius and the other. And this is the house of ideologies. This is all going to be about belief systems and government. In Saturn's house of Capricorn, Jupiter is debilitated. So when Nibiru comes along trying to take Jupiter's crown so that he can have wings, he fails here because he's debilitated. This is the one house that Jupiter is terrified. Saturn, the state, Jupiter, the church. And Saturn done spent 3 retrogrades here in Sagittarius, trying to push it home. Today we're talking about a Saturn-Mars conjunction here. Saturn is about restrictions, going slow, detailed, organized. Mars is now, he's reactive. It's that reaction. Now. Saturn says no, not now. Ruling time. He says when. So this is, I can't emphasize enough about doing your shadow work here. And this is everybody, but especially those of you who are born with Pluto in Leo. This is your time. This is your ideology. This is the reason you started the fire to begin with, so that the change can come here. A new government, a new way of doing things, a more Saturnalian, orderly way, accountability. See, Jupiter, he's the great benevolent. Over here in Pisces, this is all about grace. Right? They can do whatever they want to and get away with it, because we have to forgive them to be forgiven ourselves. But here, karma rules the day. You reap what you sow in Saturn's house. It's time for accountability. Saturn will give you slack your whole life. But right there at the end, you're going to wake up and realize you will be held accountable by your own standards. You will be judged by what measure you judge others. It will be on the very standards you judge. That's why you need to clean this out here. We have what I call residual or debris. There's a bunch of debris from falling away from old belief systems and ideologies. You know, we don't believe in Santa Claus anymore, but we still got plastic trees and boxes in our attics. Things we need to clean up. And for him to go retrograde there, giving into me, that's what it is. It's tough, but it's buying you time. He's being generous. How much more generous can he be? Pluto there. All about the subconscious mind. All about manifesting what's inside the Black Lodge. When Saturn and Jupiter meet, the door to the Black Lodge opens. And Pluto's in there. In the sign of let there be manifestation. And this is when those born with Pluto and Virgo, this will be your time. You're the ones that get the opportunity to manifest it. It will be your generation. And it'll just keep ticking around the clock. Retrogrades can be looked at several different ways. If you channel the energy properly, it can benefit you. You can even profit from it. That's what the corporations, the governments, and the religions do. And they love a Saturn-Jupiter conjunction because they can lay out the next 20 years. And all they got to do is get us to react. Mars. We have to learn to control our emotions. You have to be able to learn to let go, detach. I think they shove so much in our face so that we'll become disdain. But it's okay to act. It's the react that's a problem. That instinctual, they call it the reptilian reaction. When truly a reptile, in alchemical terms, would be a very smart serpent and would think long and hard before it struck. The thing about snakes, I would learn all I could about them if I were you, because they're quite interesting. The only time that you are really a snake is more afraid of you. He's not going to strike you unless he feels threatened by you because you're too big for food. They basically are just out looking for something to eat. They're not out looking. They're not really what you call get and fight territorial type creatures. But when they shed their skin, they can't see, and they'll strike at anything. To me, metaphorically, this serpent that we're dealing with over here, when he gets ready to take off his mask, shed his skin, change his appearance, he can be deadly. He'll strike at anything. Currently, Uranus is there making that transformation in Pisces and Aries, and Cetus there in the lower house. And that is the church. The sheepfold is here. They've been trapped over here. This Old Testament, old-timey churches, that's what this is. They're under the god of Aries. Thou shalt not. And they'll strike at anything. And they love this word patriotism, after the patriarch, Aries. And then there's that evil star when the moon or other planets come in conjunction with this star. It's considered their really bad side. Saturn's debilitated here. So when you see Saturn conjunct this star, the Algol star, I wish it had an R in it, would be too funny. You'll know it is the Gorgon. You can go through all the tales. We'll have to do some of the Arabian tales and go through some of that. That's a video I've been wanting to make as well. But I don't know how many of you are familiar with these stories. In a way, Disney gave us a lot of them, but they gave us a Disney version of them. They always change things to suit themselves and to make the most dollar. But this is the big event. And then this is just the halfway point, really. When you talk about this, this is the halfway marker between the eclipse of 2017 and the eclipse of 2024 that crisscross here in the United States. And then Capricorn, this here, Capricorn representing North America. The head, the goat man. So take that for what you will. It's basically telling you the who, what, when, where, why, and how. The outcome really depends. It's time for us to stand up. It's time for those of us born with Pluto and Leo to finish burning down the house. And then the next generation will have the opportunity to establish a better life for us. I wish they would let go of some of these trusts that have been set up. And we could fix the world economy. Everything could be fixed overnight with just the signing of a pen. but that would have to disempower, really, all of these that rule the age of Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius, and let Saturn assume all the power. Kabbalistically, he has already assumed power in 2016. Saturn-Jupiter conjunction, he assumes power in 2020. He'll assume galactic power when Aquarius is fully in. And we're watching this happen. You know, as above, so below, but as below, so above. And Saturn rules time. They say tomorrow never comes. Well, it will. Saturn rules time, and tomorrow will definitely come. Because we've already been told the end of the story. Speaking of the end of the story, I think that needs to be clarified a little bit. In the Bible, it tells you that there's a new heaven, Aquarius, and a new earth, and that it's a world without end. Well, Aquarius is a world without end because it slams right into Capricorn. And they are one age. That's made, they're the golden age, the singular, the golden age. They're one. It's Pan. It's Baphomet, however you want to look at it. It's the goat man. I see it in I have my own images in my head of who Thalem is. And it's not the Greek or the Roman or the Persian or the Oriental or any of them. I see them in a very different light than what these images they give us. To me, this is all going to be done away with. I think we already know that a lot of these images are all going to be replaced with much more clear images, and everybody's going to be taught. We're all going to know what all of this stuff means. That's what the Age of Aquarius is about. And you see Baphomet with the little boy and the little girl standing at his feet looking up at him. Everyone will know. It's the age of knowing. We were in the age of not knowing shit and confusion since Leo. And that all started here and really let there be light. But world without end means just this age had no end because it went right into Capricorn. Now, after the age of Capricorn, this is when the earth will be cleansed with fire. Here. The last time it was with water in Cancer, this time it will be with fire in Sagittarius. And it's a different kind of cleansing, different than the fire in Leo or Aries. Leo is more the ego of the trinity of fire. And Aries, I am. You know, I am. When Leo is me, me, me. It's me, myself, and I, these three. The me, myself, and I. But this is more of in the mind, philosophical. The illuminated ones, they're illuminated intellectually in ways I can't even begin to wrap my mind around. I mean, if you want to talk about the illuminated individual of our lifetime or the tales we have is Saint Germain. If you don't know who that is, you need to go find out. But if you follow along with the clues and what I've been telling you, you'll realize it's a Jupiterian invention. This personage of Saint Germain. One of those, again, I smell a Jesuit. You can see their influences. That's why I was telling you it's really important to learn the names of the planets in different languages. But it's also just as important to know the names of the moons of Jupiter, because when you get into these alchemical writings, and a lot of these authors, they will use fictitious names, they're pseudonyms, and they will name themselves after the moons of Jupiter. Great names, but if you did, and you need to, we only seem to have them, and what you would call, I guess, the Greco-Roman, the Latin, maybe, the different names of these moons that were once planets, that were once worlds, before Jupiter's light went out. He's a brown dwarf, a failed star. But the 10 ages, ruled by the 7, well, really the 6, Saturn being the 7th, they're all going to have to bow down. All of these countries, all of these lodges, when you talk about the horn, the goat with one horn between his eyes that comes from the west and covers the whole of the world, the age, people think it's democracy. It's not. It's not a democracy. We're told, biblically, he comes in as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. It's a monarchy. That's going to upset a lot of people, especially these back over here in the church, in that sheepfold, in the sheepfold. They're thumping their Bibles, and they call themselves patriots. There they are. And they'll go to war, Aries, to defend something they hold near and dear to their hearts. And that's that book that they do not even know how to read. And to me, that is a shame. If they knew what I knew, I'm sure they wouldn't be doing it. But they don't want to hear it. They've been blinded. Biblically, the verse is, I will send them strong delusion to cause them to believe the lie. There's only one lie. It's the lie. I think that's about enough for this video. It's half an hour long. I don't want to go any longer than that. Let's jump back to today. Cut some of this off. It's back to now. Because what's really going on right now, you're talking about the Saturn, Mars, there in Sagittarius. Now this, like I said, Mars here is going to be like hurry up and wait, because Saturn's restricting it. Mars wants to go, 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 do it now, just do it. And that's Mars. But Saturn's restricting that. But you still can get something done, because these two can actually work together to really get shit done. But Mars is so emotionally involved. It's about the drama. You get a lot of drama here. Either you're going to get a lot of drama, or you're going to get some shit done. But the drama will be back and forth, because it's like playing tug of war between Saturn and Mars. And there's Venus, Uranus pulling the mask off the church, uncovering, getting rid of the old, even in the church. Pluto's working in the ideology. Uranus and Pluto are both tearing up Jupiter's houses. Saturn's there tearing up Jupiter's house. Mars there tearing up Jupiter's house. And then Jupiter's going to be debilitated in 2020. The church is getting its ass kicked. They are having to eat a lot of crow right now. A lot of people are waking up. A lot of this will be the cause of a lot of people coming out. They're going to have to make a decision. People are no longer willing to send their sons and daughters off to war for something they know is just a freaking con job. They're not defending our people. They're defending the corporation, the thing that needs to be destroyed. They need to get rid of that. And that's what this new thing is all about. And they can't stop the heavens. They can stop a lot of things, but they cannot stop the heavens. What they can do is just keep us blinded and programmed and drugged and confused and distracted. And they got something for everybody. Whatever your flavor is. So many choices you can't make a choice to manifest anything. Well, that's what you need to do here. Pluto, cleaning out. Get rid of it. It's not serving you. Uranus, cleaning out this mutable cross. Tearing Jupiter's houses up. Burning them down. With water, setting the water on fire, literally. Water in the firehouse and fire in the waterhouse. But it's going to get the job done. And Pluto's just going to cruise right through Sagittarius. Uranus has done the retrograde over here in Pisces. And you see, but Saturn's going to make up for it in retrogrades in Sagittarius. So really the focus is here throughout until 2020, until Saturn moves out of this sign. The focus is here. When you talk about the different astrologies, we have lunar astrology, solar astrology, but what I'm doing, it's all about Saturn, because Saturn rules astrology here. So they go around the wheel every year. Saturn, he created this wheel. He's calling the shots now. They took over. Jupiter, right? Zeus killed Kronos, his father, which is time. And he took over the wheel of time. That's that story. Because Kronos was eating his children. Time consumes all things. So how did he get them back? He changed time. He was illuminated. He's illuminated. Jupiter. Mentally illuminated. Spiritually, mentally, philosophically illuminated. Sagittarius is considered the great humanitarian. I don't know, a lot of times philosophy is like religion. There's a lot of wars over it. People will kill for what they believe in. That's the problem back over here in the sheepfold. And understand this sheepfold ain't just Christians. There's Muslims in there too. They're sheep too. He tells us about his sheep. My sheep know my voice, but I have sheep from other folds. And that's these ages. And religions. We will all be taught, and then there won't be any excuse. It's going to be a lot harsher than what people think. Heaven is not what you think it is. And it's going to take a certain class of people to get there. Now, we have children being born now that the powers that be are doing everything they can to get rid of. They do not want our children to be born. Because a lot of them are indigos. They're special children. They have talents and abilities that we can't wrap our minds around at some of the things they can do. Some of them are completely out of control, and they dope them because they don't know what to do with them. They tell you they're ADD or ADHD. No, they're just on a completely different frequency than you are. And they need to be handled as such. Doping them shuts them down. You're killing them spiritually. That's not what they were created. The frequencies of the heavens are changing. Our children will change. The vibrations coming from the heavens and the different constellations, it dictates the DNA here. And you see the sign of Aquarius, the Charlie Brown shirt, zigzag, zigzags. I want to tell you it's water, when this is an age of air. Don't have anything to do with water. We're coming out of water. Frequencies. You got a frequency, the quintessence of the thing. Okay, I keep dragging this out. I'm saying I'm going to end this. I guess I'll do it here. I've pretty much gone over it in the last few days, warning all of you that are on that mutable cross, and those of you who have planets on it, to learn to channel that energy, or it will definitely channel you. I know it's given me a hard time. I've got a lot going on in my life too. Alright, I'm going to call that the end of this video. If you haven't gotten your chart done, I'm about caught up now. Would be a good time to ask for one. It's taken me a little longer to do them in the Mercury retrograde. And if this channel has helped you in any way, won't you please consider making a donation? It would be really helpful at this time.